Would I be the jerk for yelling at my parent? Sunday after work, I started feeling horribly ill and realized I had food poisoning. It was absolute hell. Before it got too bad, I called my mother. She was in the other room and I was hugging the toilet. I asked her if she could get me something from the pharmacy. She told me there were no pharmacies open because it was around 8:30 in the evening and we live in a relatively small town. I checked Google and told her there was one closing in 30 minutes, which is a 5-minute drive away. She insisted that she knew their hours and that they were already closed. I started vomiting again, so I just dropped it. I was sick the entire night. I slept maybe 40 minutes straight before having to run to the bathroom. I was crying from stomach cramps and it was all around just miserable. Not being able to sleep, I got so mad at her and started seething every single time I was vomiting. The next morning when she was finally awake, I confronted her and told her that was a really messed up thing to do. I would have at least checked if the pharmacy was open if she felt that bad. She started insisting that it was closed. My reasoning is that most businesses set their own hours on Google, so why would they list 9 if they don't close at 9? She just basically told me, "I'm not in the mood to drive now. You can suffer until I'm willing to help you." She apologized, but I genuinely don't think she feels bad. A while after that, I told her I was tired and didn't want to go to work because I slept so little. I still had to go to work. She said, "I know, me too. It woke me up every time. That just broke me. You heard me be sick the entire night. Not once did you ask if I was okay. Not once did you even offer me a glass of water." I would have done that for her. When I told my friend I was sick the next morning, he immediately offered to send me some stuff he knows helps. That's the bare minimum, right? You are supposed to do that for the people you care about. I want to confront her about it because it hurts me so much, but I know she's going to say I'm beating a dead horse and reluctantly apologize. Would I be the antagonist if I confront my mother? You are not the one at fault, but what would that confrontation achieve? Since living with her, other than getting this all off your chest, is a confrontation going to help the situation or just make things worse? Especially if you are already physically unwell, is there a need to have a fight that could make things more stressful? It's clear that being sick and not getting help was frustrating, but no magic medicine will make food poisoning go away instantly. Would I be the jerk for reporting my family to animal welfare? I have made separate posts on here regarding a very stressful situation in my family, which I have deleted now. I am a minor and live in a home with 3 dogs. 2 of the dogs belong to my sister, and the other belongs to my grandmother. We also have 3 cats inside and 2 outdoor cats that belong to each of us really. They are taken care of in the traditional sense. They have food, water, and lead inside. However, in terms of treatment for flea problems and such, they are not taken care of. The dogs constantly scratch and have developed missing fur because of it. I do not mean to paint my family as monsters, but the dogs have not been treated for the fleas. They only had a flea collar months ago that did not help. My mental health has really declined because of this entire situation. I was diagnosed with obsessive-compulsive disorder in March and feel extreme amounts of guilt, as well as worry over the whole ordeal. I was hesitant to call anyone at first because I truly hate conflict and was scared of what would happen. I do not know if I am overreacting because I know the animals are loved, but I am not sure what else to do. I am the only one that really gives them baths because my sister does not, and my grandmother cannot. I talked with my mother about it, and she said I should be aware of what happens after I make the call. I would possibly have to come live with her. I live with my grandmother. I was also hypothetically talking about it with my grandmother, and she said she would be upset if someone called animal services on her. She also said, "You don't do that to kin." I have no clue what to do anymore, and my confidence about the situation is wavering. I truly want the animals to get help, but the excuse is I don't have the money. I am truly scared to call now because I do not want everyone to hate me. I know it is right, but I doubt myself sometimes with everyone's outside opinions. If I do not call, I am afraid it would make me a monster. I wrote out a whole message to send to my sister and grandmother because I cannot bring myself to say it in person. I explained the situation needs to change, and I looked online at different things people like to treat the dogs, cats, and the house. I have not sent it yet, but I also said I would give time for the situation to change before calling anyone. I said until the 19th. Now I am truly so confused and feel like crying. Please be kind. These poor animals are being horribly mistreated and borderline neglected. If they don't have the money to take care of fleas, they don't have the money to have dogs. These pets could find a safe, loving home where they will thrive. Try to think about it this way. Would you rather have a conflict with your family but save animals, or be on good terms with your family and have these animals continuously suffer until death? Am I the jerk for telling my friend that she was selfish for making her own plans on my wedding day? My friend and I are both 27-year-old females and have been friends since we were 8 years old. I got married this past April, and she was a bridesmaid in the wedding. About 9 months out from the wedding, I learned from my maid of honor that because this friend did not want to pay for a hotel room, she had texted the entire bridal party. excluding the groom and me, about booking a large Airbnb together with their significant others. The maid of honor said the group text indicated that this Airbnb was for the bridal party, but not for the bride and groom. This Airbnb plan ultimately fizzled out, but I texted my friend bridesmaid to talk with her about how it bothered me that she was trying to make new plans for my wedding party for my wedding weekend, without saying anything to my now husband or me. She was very defensive and told me it was not a big deal and dismissed my feelings entirely. The conversation ended, and we did not have a reason to talk for a while. Fast forward to my bachelorette weekend, and after consuming lots of wine, she made some comment about the lodging for my wedding weekend, and I snapped at her in front of everyone. I told her that she was selfish and only cared about what she wanted. Later that night, we tried to hash things out, and I apologized for snapping at her but tried to explain that I did think she was selfish for trying to change my wedding plans without telling me, and then dismissing me when I tried to talk with her about it. I told her it hurt my feelings that, as a friend of almost 20 years, she could care so little about my intentions and opinions of my wedding. When I said she would not appreciate it if the roles were reversed, she told me that she really could not entertain that hypothetical because she was not seeing anyone. We smoothed over the conversation that evening, but I am not totally sure that either of us saw the other person's side. Leading up to the wedding, everything seemed normal again with us, and she was enthusiastic about the wedding and left me a thoughtful card on the day of. Now that the wedding is over, she does not speak to me. She did not tell me she was coming to town multiple times or that she is moving to the area that I live in. I found out from another friend that she was just getting through the wedding and had planned to stop talking to me after. Am I the asshole for telling her that she was selfish? It sounds like the Airbnb was more economical, so why is that a problem? You weren't paying for your wedding party's hotel rooms, so you don't get to control where they stay. Just what? Your complaints make no sense, and you were thoughtless about the costs you were imposing on your wedding party. Would I be the asshole if I call CPS? To start with, I am not in the USA or the UK, so some elements will be equivalent to what we have in my country. I am a teacher, married to a man who is also a teacher. We both work in a different city from where we live. It happens that I work in the same city where his family and his family's friends live, so I work with their children. They are not necessarily in my class this year, but I know everything about them as long as it is in the school app, and as long as my colleagues talk about it. This is about Olivia, a 13-year-old female. Olivia has many troubles at school. She does not work, she has no respect for anyone or anything, and her parents do nothing about it. They have been called to meetings, but nothing changes. Her father overindulges her. She is his little princess, and so is her little sister, Emily. A few days ago, my husband told me about something his mother mentioned. Apparently, Olivia is selling vapes, and he does not know where she gets them from. She is making some money, about $1,000. Her parents know, and she even gave some money to her father. I was appalled, as this is illegal where I live. My husband asked me not to report to the school because it is not our problem, and he fears he may get in trouble or his family may learn that he talked. But I cannot ignore it. It is too significant an issue. I was already asked to say nothing when they told us last year that she was drunk at a party in front of her parents. However, I told the supervisor. Nothing was done, but she knew. This time, I talked to the school nurse. She said she cannot do anything because she has not got any direct proof. She gave me a phone number I could call to anonymously report the situation. But I do not know. I feel it is a breach of trust for my husband if he ever knows I have done it, but part of me finds it hard to let it go. She is not in immediate danger, but her future is, and so is her little sister's, who is already worse than her in terms of behavior. But I feel it is not my place. It is treason to him and his family, and she is not in immediate danger. She and her sister will not be taken away. The nurse told me her parents would get parental help and guidance, but still. So would I be the asshole if I call that number? This is definitely a complex situation with no clear right or wrong answer. The focus should be on what's best for the child rather than worrying about the impact on your husband or his family. If the concerns are valid and reporting it might help the child, then that should be the priority. Ultimately, it's a judgment call, and either option could be defensible, so choose what feels right after considering all the factors. Am I the jerk for telling my partner that I am upset about not getting to spend my days off with my family? I work 7 days a week. My husband and I have 5 children. My husband does not work. He was unable to take care of the baby while I work, so we are now paying for daycare Monday through Friday because the baby was too much to handle. Monday through Friday, I work one job, and on the weekends I work another. I have not had a day off in months. I took last weekend off. Saturday night, we were going to celebrate my daughter's birthday. I had big plans to spend a lot of time with my family over the weekend and was really looking forward to it. When I woke up Saturday morning, I asked my husband what he wanted to do, and he was like, I don't know. A few minutes later, he said he was going to go play golf with our oldest son. I was like, oh well, okay, and they left. They stayed gone for 4 to 5 hours. They went to Dick's, Academy Sports, and the driving range. I messaged my husband to let him know that we were going to go eat for my daughter's birthday, so he came back home to meet us, and we all went to eat. There was a local festival going on that weekend and I mentioned everyone going, but my husband did not want to go, so we all just went home. I was disappointed. Sunday morning I asked him again what he wanted to do that day, knowing this was my last day for the next few months to have family time. He said he wasn't really sure. He moped around the house all day and wouldn't even consider us all going somewhere and doing something. I needed to run to Walmart to get some things to grill out for dinner. He didn't want to go, so I went by myself. When I got home, he said he and my son were going back to play golf. I was really frustrated. I cooked dinner alone. We haven't spoken since then besides fighting. I told him that it really hurts my feelings that I finally had some time off, and he chose to mess up my plans to have family time this weekend. His story is that he just wanted to leave the house for a few hours, and it shouldn't be a big deal. I never make a big deal about him leaving and in fact have tried to get him out of the house Monday through Friday while the baby is at daycare, but he refuses to go anywhere. He acts like something is wrong with me because I am upset about not getting to enjoy my few days off, while he has Monday through Friday, 40 hours a week, to do whatever he wants to do. He is telling me that I am delusional. You are not the jerk. It sounds like your husband is either dealing with chronic depression or is just flat out lazy because the way he neglected your wishes on your only weekend off after working 7 days a week was really rude. Does your husband have a VIA counselor? They should be kicking him in the ass to work. If he's not contributing to childcare or chores, it's understandable why you'd be at the end of your rope. Am I the jerk for not discontinuing a friendship with my friend's ex? I, a 16-year-old female, have a close friend, Millie, also a 16-year-old female. Last year she started dating George, a 17-year-old male. He would constantly insult me and argue with me, and we couldn't be in the same vicinity peacefully. Eventually, we got to the point of being able to coexist with only slight arguments and even having nice conversations. George and Millie's relationship began to go downhill, and I was put in the middle. Millie would tell me to call our group chat because George wouldn't answer her privately and would only answer in a group setting. On these calls, I'd confront him about how he was treating her or me, and Millie would sometimes join in. From the start, I told Millie that George wasn't good for her, but she never listened. They went through a period where they were just friends, but Millie pushed George to do things like hold her hand, walk her to class, and FaceTime her, which he didn't like. After a while, Millie got upset and told me to call George and press him on his behavior. He admitted to feeling forced to keep doing things with her and only wanted friendship. I told Millie what he had said and advised her to end it, but she didn't listen and continued to force things. They didn't stop speaking until he ghosted her for around 3 days, and she finally broke up with him. A few months passed by, and George got a long-term girlfriend, Elle, an 18-year-old female. Once George and Elle broke up, Millie told me she wanted to get back with George. I disapproved and said no. She asked me to be his friend and feed information to her. I pushed back but still became friends with George and told her important things. This went on for a while until I genuinely began enjoying our friendship and saw that he had actually changed. We opened up to each other a lot, and he apologized for the way he treated me. Here's where I may be in the wrong. After showing Millie our chats, she had a problem because George called me cute and gave me a pep talk about being fine the way I am and finding someone one day. I had opened up about body issues and my love life. During an emotional conversation over text, George said something along the lines of, "Talk to me." George also invited me to grab food with him and his friend for his birthday. On George's birthday, Millie texted him happy birthday as a way to rekindle their relationship, but he responded nicely, saying he didn't want to talk. Disappointed, she told me to cut him off even though I previously told her that the friendship was real and genuine to me. She thinks that he is flirting with me, but I see all of our conversations as platonic and view him as a friend who has really changed into a better person. She said that I'm weird and that I obviously like him too, so now I'm sitting here confused after typing this all out. So, am I in the wrong? You did nothing wrong here. Millie's insistence on you cutting off your friendship with George seems controlling and unreasonable. You have the right to choose your friends, and it's not fair for her to dictate who you can and cannot be friends with. Set a firm boundary in all your relationships that people don't have agency over you. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.